Yes, guys, what's happening? So, I thought I'd kick things off straight away with like a introduction video to sort of say what we're going to be doing on the channel, what sort of videos I'm going to be making, the kind of tutorials I'm going to be making, and sort of where I come from, who I am. Just see it, and just a brief talk about everything Rapture and myself. So, yeah, so kicking things off. Obviously, I'm a Hard Trance DJ and producer, as many of you may know. I've also started mixing and mastering people's music in the last, I'd say, 3 years. Started off doing my own stuff and then slowly worked my way onto Rapture stuff as I started getting a bit more confident with it. Many years ago, what got me into DJing and music was, so my dad, he was a DJ himself back in the 80s, played loads of clubs and that, obviously back in the heyday. And obviously he stopped doing that because of his full-time job. And then later on in life, after he'd had me and my brother, he started to do the old like mobile discos. And yeah, so when I was old enough and mature enough, he took me along. I must have been about 11 years old. And yeah, so I think as soon as I was tall enough to be able to touch the decks and get on them, I was on them having a go. And yeah, he slowly taught me little bits and bobs about them and stuff like that. And then he got me my first pair of Newmark CDN 88s, like an old rack mount style one, with an old red Newmark mixer that had like a Chaos pad on it. I will get a picture up and I will put a picture somewhere in the video for you to see. But yeah, no, so that was my first proper set of decks at home on my desk. It was in a proper like mobile disco case and everything, proper job. So yeah, I started trying to mix on that. Obviously, as you can imagine, it was not the best for actual DJing, right? But I made do, and I learned what I had to learn. Obviously, at the time that was all happening, I had an old friend of mine called JJ that used to live over the road, and his uncle used to live with him and sort of look after him, and he also was a DJ and music producer at the time as well. And he sort of got me into drum and bass, and yeah, I really sort of got into drum and bass from that point onwards. And he sort of showed me the way with making music, and it was like my first introduction into looking at how music's made. And obviously he used Reason back then, so obviously I started using Reason way back then as well. I must have been about 13-14 years old at this point. So yeah, I started using Reason, and obviously very limited back then. You couldn't even drag samples onto the sequencer. It was an old drum player in Reason 3 that I used to have to use to put the samples in. There's just so many things that I just didn't like the workflow of, and just weren't really like, it didn't make it very easy, you know. I was looking at all these other doors, like Fruity Loops, Logic and all these ones, and they just look so much easier to use. So upon recommendation from an old friend of mine, Mike, he said to get on Fruity Loops, and so yeah, I did get on Fruity Loops, and that's what I've been using since then. So obviously I've learnt as much as I can with it up until now, as you will see in the next few videos, well, over the course of the future, I'd imagine. So yeah, after switching over to Fruity Loops, I was studying music at school at the time, I believe. Well, it may have been just before I switched over to Fruity Loops. So obviously I studied music at school, and I don't play an instrument. Never really have played an instrument. I kind of play the piano a little bit, but it's not like I couldn't bust out a whole song on a piano. No way. I know a couple of melodies and stuff like Coldplay, Clocks, and some other bits and pieces. I was never going to pass out the music GCSE because you had to perform an instrument, and obviously it was either that or sing, and I weren't doing either. So they managed to switch me over to a BTEC course, which I could DJ for the live performance aspect of it, which was really interesting. So yeah, obviously went through the whole 2 years of doing that, and then at the end of it I had to do like a live performance aspect, and they set up the school hall on the stage with my decks, the CDN 88s. And I had to do like a DJ set. It was like a half-hour DJ set, and I got raid on the performance aspect of it and everything. But yeah, no, I think I got a distinction in music at school, and then obviously went on to do music at Farnborough Technology College. It was a level 3 extended diploma in music technology. So I did a lot over them 2 years at college, and obviously the main problem with that college course was, like at school, I had to do a live performance, but they would not allow DJing. It wasn't part of the curriculum, and they couldn't change it in any way, so I chose singing. It was the only thing that I think I could do fairly quickly before like having to learn an instrument. So yeah, chose singing and ended up actually being, I wouldn't say good, but a lot better than I thought I was going to be. So yeah, I ended up doing that. I got a merit in that at college. And then yeah, I think after while I was at college, I think that's when we found free parties. Me and my mates ended up going to free parties, illegal raves, whatever you want to call them. And that's where I found Hard Trance. And yeah, I think obviously it weren't just the fact that I found Hard Trance. There was lots of other factors involved. But yeah, so that's how that love affair started with Hard Trance, was going to a free party and hearing it on a massive sound system. Because I'm telling you now, it's all well and good listening to it on like your headphones and on your speakers at home, but it's not the same until you get in front of one of them massive rigs and feel it. Like, obviously, because the bass response goes so low on them massive rigs, you feel it way more than you would on most other systems that you'd have to your availability at home or whatever. So yeah, that's what changed it for me, was listening to Hard Trance on a massive sound system. Honestly, if you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. And yeah, I highly recommend you go and have a look at the UK free party scene if you haven't yet either. It's a weird and wonderful place, but if you're a true raver and you love your music, it's definitely a good place to check out. I then got a pair of Newmark NDX 900s and a Behringer, or Behringer, whatever you want to call it. If anyone actually want to tell me the correct their way of saying it in the comments, then that'd be great. But yeah, I got a Nox 606 mixer. I'll obviously put a picture of it so you can see what I'm on about. But yeah, that was the first proper DJ setup I had. And yeah, inevitably sold that when things got tough. And I haven't had a pair of decks since. So mainly focused on production since then. But yeah, so that's obviously what took over for me, is making the music. I got much more enjoyment out of playing my own music to people at DJ sets and playing other people's music. The feeling it gives you just can't explain. So yeah, that was obviously where I started producing more. So yeah, moving on from there, I started getting into Hard Trance massively. I was trying to find all the tunes. Obviously back then it was, in terms of, it's always been like in my head and a lot of other people's heads from the scene, there's like two versions of Hard Trance. Obviously there's like the clubbier, more euphoric type Hard Trance that everyone listens to with the big melodies and the breakdowns and stuff like that. And then there's the dirtier, grimier version of Hard Trance that the free party scene adopted and started making. And yeah, I think like the predominant artists for me back then were Zach Still, Logger, Doc B. He was a big one. Don't hear much from him anymore. Arnie was obviously big back then, but his tunes are quite old still. But you know what I mean? It's just, his tunes done the damage for quite some time and probably still do. So yeah, there's lots of free party Hard Trance artists I looked up to. Obviously Zach Still being one of the main ones. Obviously started trying to produce Hard Trance myself, and I think Zach was one of the first people I contacted and one of the first people that replied to me and actually listened to my stuff. And he took my first track, and actually I think he engineered it a little bit and sent it back to me, and it actually sounded really good. And he told me what he'd done, and so I knew what to learn from and get better at. But yeah, so that track was made on Reason. This was obviously before I switched over to Fruity Loops. I think it was the last track I made before switching over to Fruity Loops. So yeah, Zach said he would take on my music, but Zach was quite long, and I'm a very impatient guy, and I just wanted to get it out there, and I was just obviously making other music and was sat on this track that I just wanted to get out and keep the ball rolling. So in the end I started Rapture Recordings back in 2015. That was March 2015. That's when it sort of first come about. Obviously I kicked things off with my first proper release. It was an EP. Obviously Zach done a remix for me as well. That was on the EP, and then Mono Monkey done a remix for me as well. So we had 3 tracks on the EP kicking things off, closely followed by Onslow and Comms. So we had Onslow's The Truth and Keeping Our Humanity by Comms, and that really sort of set the tone for Rapture in the first 3 releases. I think we got quite a good reception straight away, really. And yeah, it's just followed on from there. I've done my best and tried my hardest to keep looking and find new talent as it comes out, and you know what I mean, just jump on it when I see it and get it on board with the label and try and help them out and shape them. Not so much like train them, but just sort of give them the right pushes in the right areas and tell them where things need improvement, you know. So yeah, I nurtured and managed Rapture for the best part of 2 years, I think. And obviously, due to personal circumstances with my job, I couldn't continue to do it the way I was wanting to do it. Obviously, like with keeping up the quality of the releases and like just the cover art and everything. So I was struggling to do it on my own. So yeah, a good friend of mine back then called Jake that I was doing DJing for. He had a label called Progbox. He said that I should maybe try and get his friend Woody involved, because obviously Woody loved his Hard Trance. I'd never spoke to Woody before. I think I'd seen him a few times at free parties and that, maybe had a chat with him, whatever, but we weren't really good pals. But he recommended I get Woody on board because he had such a passion for Hard Trance. I thought, you know, that's the sort of guy I need, someone that's really passionate about it, just like myself. And yeah, well, the rest is history. Yeah, he come on board in 2017. He gave it a bit of a financial boost that it needed, and obviously with our two heads put together, we ended up achieving quite a lot. Yeah, we ended up achieving top label, well, in the Hard Trance section on Juno, we achieved top label status amongst some other quite big labels. The album I released back in 2020 hit the Best of Trance 2020 on Juno as well. We've just been featured on a massive compilation album as well. I can't say too much about it just yet because it's not out, but it's massive. It's a really big moment for us, and I'm quite impressed. So yeah, that's like a sort of brief overview of where I've come from and where Rapture came from and why I'm here today. So yeah, I thought it was about time to start giving back. I feel I've learnt quite a lot. Obviously, there's lots of aspects and lots of subjects I can cover when it comes to music business, music knowledge, music theory, music production. So I feel like I could make a good impact on a lot of people by starting to do some educational videos. So I'm going to be doing YouTube tutorials. We're going to be covering all sorts of subjects. Obviously, if you've got anything that you're struggling with or would like me to cover, don't hesitate to drop a comment below and let me know what you want me to have a go at, and I shall see if I can give it a good go. But yeah, we'll be covering all sorts of topics, from hard trance production, all the different elements of hard trance like bass, leads, kicks, all that good stuff. We'll delve into some other genres as well that I've had experience with, like house, drum and bass. I'm going to go over all my plugins like Serum. We're going to go over Fruity Loops. We're going to go do some in-depth videos. On the subject of in-depth videos, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing brief videos and sometimes some long videos on YouTube. But if you want the full in-depth knowledgeable videos, be about an hour long or whatever, however long it takes me to do the videos, they'll be featured on our website. So there's going to be a portal that comes where you can log on and you can subscribe to become a Rapture member. There's going to be two different versions. Obviously a basic one for just the average consumer that just likes to write on music and wants to be a top fan of Rapture. I mean, you'll get early releases of the music, early releases of merch, exclusive merch, and then there'll be a more producer-based subscription. Be slightly more expensive, but you'll get more out of it. Obviously, you'll get everything that's included with the basic subscription, and then you'll get my full in-depth videos through there. I'll be able to provide feedback. There'll be like a place where you can upload tracks and get feedback from myself. We're going to release sample packs, preset packs, you name it. Anything to do with making music and the production music, we're going to try and include into this portal. So keep your eyes peeled for the portal and make sure you jump on that when it comes out. So that's where you'll find all the in-depth stuff that I'm going to be doing. Obviously, there's going to be we're going to do podcast style videos where, like today, I'm going to be sat here talking. We're going to get guests involved. And so I think I'm going to try and do it like once every fortnight. Or maybe once a month, see what happens. But yeah, we'll get guests involved. Obviously, I'll be talking over topics. And I'm also going to do some tune reviews, so people get to submit their tunes. I'm going to drop an email address right here in the video so you can see where you've got to submit your tunes to. So I'll announce when I'm going to be doing the first podcast style video in the coming week or so. Just need to get a couple of things in preparation for that. But yeah, so that's another type of video we're doing. So yeah, that's another type of video we'll be doing. And then we're also going to be doing gig vlogs, I guess. So you'll be coming along to us to our sets and to the events that we're going to be doing. We've got a couple in the pipeline. So yeah, there'll be footage of all them coming up. Yeah, just going to be all things Rapture basically on the channel. And obviously mainly featuring me. I'm going to try and get some other artists involved to come and do some tutorials on how they do certain things, because I think that would be quite nice to not just me doing it, but other people covering certain topics as well. Right, so if there's anything you guys are struggling with or want me to cover in a video or show you how to do it, then just drop a comment below and let me know what your suggestions are, and I should be sure to give them a good go. So yeah, if you head over to rapturerecordings.uk, you can check out our website where obviously everything will be announced on there. Obviously, you can follow us on our social medias like Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel for sure to keep up to date with everything that comes out. Make sure you hit the little bell icon and you'll be notified when we post a new video. And also, new Rapture merch is available. There's an online shop on our website. It's rapturerecordings.uk/store. Make sure you go over there. We've got 3 different designs across hoodies, tops, sweatshirts. There's even a mug and a bucket hat for you to pick from. Obviously, this is one of them. This is my top. Yeah, it's quite a sort of subtle design, this one, but it's good for everyday wear. And obviously, we've got the other different designs as well. We've got a NASA-inspired Rapture logo, which I think is really good. I need to get one of them myself. There's also going to be a winter range coming soon as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that on the website. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and yeah, see you all soon.